We've put together between Crombie Lockwood and the Carbon and Energy Professionals to put together a bit of a scheme. My name's David Wing. I'm a senior commercial broker with Crombie Lockwood, and as you can probably tell, I'm not from here. Originally from South Africa, and we arrived here in about 2011. I've got over 20 years experience servicing clients and taking care of their needs and looking after their interests. And sort of run by an ethos, if you like, or a principle of in the best interest of the clients at all times. Who is Crombie Lockwood? We're one of the largest insurance brokers in the country. We're actually owned by, well, we've got 25 branches countrywide. We've got experienced staff and experienced claim handlers. We're owned by Arthur J. Gallagher, which is one of the largest insurance brokers in the world. They're one of the fourth largest. They're in the same arenas as the Willis, Marshes and Aons. That also gives us an advantage of actually being locally focused, because we've got a branch network, obviously. We're nationally resourced through our head office, and we've got an international endorsement through Arthur J. Gallagher. And that gives us a little bit of bargaining power when it comes to talking to underwriters and that sort of thing. We also share an award as one of the most ethical companies in the world, and we've also been voted by Forbes 2000 as one of the best employers. This sort of brings us to why we're actually here today. The association wanted to add value to the membership, so they wanted to make sure that there was a unique offering for a unique occupation and a unique risk. And as part of that process, we also needed to make sure that it was exclusive and that it was well priced. I've got a reasonably good understanding of your industry. It's by no means as in-depth. I happen to have a family member who ad nauseum explains the abilities of cost savings and management and carbon footprints and etc., etc. Most of it goes straight over my head. And of course we needed to put this to the market, so it gave me an ability to explain to the underwriters what you did as an organization. I know it gets a bit more complex because there are engineers involved at times, and this is not aimed at that level. We're trying to take care of the energy analysis first, and if we need to then talk to the engineer guys and people at that level, then we can extend the scheme out and we can talk to them individually. But it was about trying to find the solution for the smaller guy first. And in that process, we landed up talking to Rosser amongst other underwriters. But Rosser is the one that came back to us with the best offer and the best structure, with the best pricing. And they are in turn backed by Chubb, which is one of the largest insurers in the world. What does the package include? We've got a professional indemnity. It's a management liability package with professional indemnity added. And what does that mean is that we've got the PI cover, the general liability, statutory, employers, employment disputes, crime, defence cover. You've got a management or entity liability cover, and then there's an optional cyber cover that can be added. Now you'll see I've got on the desk here a couple of pamphlets, which is a little bit of information about the package itself. There's also a pamphlet in there, and ordinarily I wouldn't print this kind of thing out, but it's a bit of information about cyber. Just explains the kind of risks that we're facing. They are emerging, 23 million odd last year in Kiwis reported theft through cyber events. So it's just something to be aware of, that it is happening and it is out there, it's a risk. There are additional benefits that are also included, so things like a 1 hour free legal advice, which relate to parts of the policy. So if you think there might be a professional indemnity issue, you're not sure how the policy would respond, you've got somebody that you can talk to very specifically about an event and about the policy response. We've also obviously got, as I've mentioned, our claims advocates. So those are people that work for Crombie Lockwood and then obviously for you, and they advocate for you with the underwriter. if you were a direct client with an insurer, there is nobody in between you. You deal directly with the claims person in the company. Their interpretation of the wording is what you are told or normally the outcome of that claim. We've got an easy, environmentally friendly form, which means you don't actually have to print anything. The form is electronically sent through to you. You complete it electronically, sign it electronically, and send it through to me. On acceptance, I send back the policy, the schedule, the invoice, obviously, and the certificates can be sent through to you as well. Very often your clients or your employers or contracts will require certification or proof of insurance, so easily sent on. And of course it's an exclusive coverage with exclusive rates. Success is going to depend on you though. We've worked with the board and with Rossa for over a year on this, trying to make sure that it's the right fit for the risks that you face. We've obviously deliberately and with concerted effort trying to make sure that the risk and the cover match each other and at the best possible terms. We also believe that savings from the scheme should offset partly or wholly, depending on your structure, the membership fees. So if there's some savings there, then it would make sense to look at it. The association is also going to benefit because we've agreed to share a portion of our income with the association, and this is going back into the members, if you like, through CPD events or through collateral, and it's a great way to give back. Success, we believe, is going to obviously only be achieved through participation. And we think that there's going to be about a 60% subscription to make sure that it has longevity, that it has a life beyond this presentation. There's also added benefits that we're looking for. So provided we've got the numbers, it's not just about this scheme. We think that we can actually build on that by providing commercial motor vehicle cover. We can provide extra benefits in ways of plant and contents cover for your businesses. And then, of course, I've already started some of the conversations with life and health providers where there could be additional discounts that are provided for that kind of cover. And of course, that's the list is endless. You know, there's accounting and legal fees and this kind of thing that we can start talking to people that we're already connected with. So what does the scheme look like? As I've listed already, the covers that are available, the professional indemnities, the public liabilities, etc., typical limits or requirements from your customers or from your clients is what we've gone for. I have already had a conversation in the last couple of days because of chats I've had with members, Auckland and Wellington, that in some cases customers need a $5 million public liability or a $10 million public liability limit, especially guys like Fonterra's or the vineyards. So what we've already got is I've already got pricing to lift the public liability to $5 million. I'll show you the pricing in a minute, but there'll be a small premium for that, and to $10 million an additional smaller premium. But I think the point I'm trying to make is that this is flexible, and our communication with Rossa is constantly open. So as things need to adjust and change, so we can. The plan is fluid. The professional indemnity excess standard there at 2,500. One of the best excess structures in the market. A lot of guys are coming in at about 5,000. So how do we price it? The easiest way to do it was to actually categorize it, because otherwise it means we'd have to underwrite each and every applicant individually, and it would just take too long and it would be too onerous, which means that you're spending too much time, and as you are all well aware, you put too much time into something, you're not making any money on it. So the easiest way for Rossa and for us to be able to price it was to put them into income bands. So turnover up to 500,000 is an $800 premium plus a $50 fee. income up to from 500 to $1 million, you're looking at 1,000 plus a $50 fee, and $1 million to 2 million turnover, 1,250. If you wanted to increase that public liability to 5 million, you'd add 150 to any of those base premiums. If you wanted to increase it to 10 million, it would be a $400 increase to any of the base premiums. So they've been extremely generous in terms of the amount of cover that they're willing to add on for a relatively small jump in premium. You can see there I've got cyber liability there at the bottom for an additional $400 premium. It's an optional extra. So once you've had a chance to digest the risk and whether or not that is in your world, is it something that can affect your business? And if it can, then you can consider to add it. But it's only in there if you need it. We'll have one common renewal date, so 1st of December every year. The policy will roll over, so everyone will get a renewal declaration for the year, which gives us an opportunity to then go back to ROSA, present to them, say to them, these are the claims we've had for the year, this is the number of participants, let's talk about price. And it gives us a good bargaining position, if you like. Premiums can be prorated for the year, so if you decide you want to have a look at it first, do your own due diligence, then you can come in, say, halfway through the year. We'll just pro-rata that premium from that date through to the 1st of December. The fee is not pro-rated, so you'll have an $800 fee pro-rated plus a $50 admin fee. If you've got current cover, you are allowed to move it over into the scheme, so you can cancel and move cover. However, we would strongly suggest that you talk to us about that first. Just because you may have existing terms, you may have existing warranties on your existing policy, and declarations or disclosure that we need to make to the underwriter. And I wouldn't want a situation to arise where you cancel a policy and the holding broker doesn't give you a full pro rata refund for the rest of the year. And in fairness, he's done the work, so he's entitled to keep the money. And we wouldn't want moving to the scheme to cost you money. So we may just suggest, hold on until renewal and we'll move it at your renewal date. The pricing was rigorously tested. And I have someone else who has also tested the market themselves just to check and see whether or not they believe me. And it's been affirmed that the pricing is very fair. And of course the benefits and the pricing can't really be matched. We can also spread premiums over a year, so if you want to, for example, the $800 plus the $50 fee and just, we can do it for as little as $40 a fortnight. I look forward to working with you guys and of being of service going forward and working with the association. And I'd just like to introduce Ben from ROSA, just going to give you a little bit of background about ROSA and where they fit into the mix and Chubb. So thank you.
Okay. Have any slides, Dave? Am I doing this?
That's yours.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. It's been good being here tonight. I've met a couple of people and trying to get my head around how all of your association works and things in between. And I thought what I would talk about is there's a couple of words or names that came up which might need a bit of clarification. That one's Chubb and one is ROSA. So I work for ROSA. We're an underwriting agency. I'm the local representative in the South Island, and we underwrite and have underwriting authority for various insurers, one of which is Chubb. And as Dave pointed out, they're one of the world's largest insurers, not what you might think of locksmiths and safes and things like that, nothing to do with that side of it. In fact, they're the largest publicly traded insurer in the world, operating 54 countries, market capitalisation of around 80 billion. To put that into perspective, the likes of IAG, who are traders NZI, in New Zealand are under 30. So that's an idea. What that means for customers is really that confidence that a claim will get paid, that the company will be around, able to meet its obligations. What it also means is in the background they've got really good claims teams, really excellent claims service. They're New Zealand-based people, on the whole legally trained, usually formally practicing lawyers or at least legally trained, and then they have access as well to a global network, especially in the New Zealand will access the likes of Singapore and Sydney and resources in there. Rossa is actually a North Island-based company. We're the second largest employer in Waipukurau, behind the local meatworks. We've got a big team in there. That's where Mr. Rossa lives, so he's got a big team, and then we've got our head office in Hamilton. Is there anything else you'd like me to talk about then, David?
Just the other, maybe about the other benefit, a couple of the other underlying benefits.
Yeah, so the policy itself is, we call it the InsurePack liability policy. And please take one of these as you leave today. It's also available online if you've got nothing better to look at on the internet. And that was created between ourselves and Chubb and launched September last year. And it was sort of bringing together the best of certain policies and adding some bells and whistles in there. So that's been very successful. Some of the things that are additional in there, David talked about the 1 hour's free legal service, and that's a really good selling point. That's worth quite a lot of money, as you can imagine, on its own if you get to use it. We're seeing a lot of people, probably the main use for that would be in the employment disputes side of things. There is, if the customers have employees, obviously if a grievance comes along, there's covering that to meet the legal costs plus the potential payout. And where that hours freeze really comes into play is in the early stage of people getting in touch with the law firms and saying, can you give us some guidance, essentially. Another thing that's in there is reserve costs and expenses. Was that on one of your slides?
Yeah, defence. Yeah, 500,000.
Yeah, so that's ring fenced. So what that means is that essentially, if somebody is having a go at you for $1 million, you think, oh, well, that's going to suck up all of the cover I've got. Who's going to pay for my legal team, court costs and whatnot? There's a ring fenced amount there of 500,000 that covers all sections. I don't want to punish you too much with too much insurance things, but quite welcome to take any questions or as we mingle afterwards. But yeah, it's been great to have the opportunity to meet you, David, and I'll be the local representation around on this scheme, and I hope to meet a few of you after. Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah.